Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your video lesson on changing units in the metric system. So this is the system the rest of the world use, and it goes nicely with our place value system. So let's review a little bit and then get going. So a metric system is a decimal system of measures. It's made up of prefixes, which are words or letters or numbers placed before another. So your prefixes that you're going to hear are kilo, centi, milli. Those are mostly the ones. There's also hecto, deca, and deci as well. So keep those in mind as we go forward. So we're looking at measurements of length, capacity, and mass. In the customary system, we learned about inches, feet, and all those things. In the metric system, we have meters, liters, and grams. And the base unit, though, generally for grams is kilogram. So here's an idea of what symbols look like per unit, and then relationship to like the meter. So in science, you'll learn a little bit about this system. Kind of keep in mind we have like 1,000. So the biggest, if we were on a decimal system, it's going to be a little confusing, but stay with me. So the biggest is 1,000. That's like our thousands place. Think kilo is big. And then we have hecto, which is 100. That's a hecto, big dollar bill. Tens is deca. That's a deck of cards as 52, which is in the tens place. Then there's the base unit, which is our ones place. Which is our decimal point here, which is our tenths place, which makes sense because it's called decimal starting. Then there's centi, which we know cent is 100, so that's our hundredths place. Then we also have milli, which I remember is our thousandths place, and that's small. Milli, like a millimeter small, and my grandma's name is Millie, and she's small. So you have to think about going forward with this is since kilo is big, it's actually going to be, it's going to take less. So if you were to think of this on a ladder, it would take less pieces in this to make it be an equivalent to milli. So since these pieces are small, it takes more of them, whereas these pieces are large, it takes less of them. Kind of like what we talked about with a ruler. If you have a ruler, it's 1 foot, so that doesn't sound very much. 1 foot isn't that big, but then in 1 foot, there's 12 inches. So since inches is a smaller unit, it takes more of them to make an equivalent amount. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go forward. So this is based on the metric system. It's based on our place value. So when we convert, there's a little study tip here. It's kind of that thing, again, if we're going small to large, it's like we multiply, versus large to small. So right here it says when converting from a larger unit to a smaller unit, the power of 10 being multiplied will be greater than 1. When converting from small to large, the power of 10 will be less than 1. Again, that's because the larger the unit, the less you need. The smaller the unit, the more you need. So if I was trying to change 4.5 liters, so I have 4.5 liters, and I'm trying to change that to how many milliliters. So labels are important. Well, what I know is that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters because it's a smaller unit. So essentially, what I'm doing is multiplying. I have 4.5 times that 1, which should be equal to that 4.5 times 1,000. So what I get is that 4.5 liters is equal to, multiplying by 1,000 is just moving 1, 2, 3 places, 4,500 milliliters. Makes sense. Smaller the unit, the more you need. So 500 millimeters to how many meters? So I know that 1 millimeter, which is small, it's supposed to be 2, is equal to 1,000th of a meter. If I look at my chart, because it's smaller, so I have to go to the left 3 places, which is small. So from here, like 1 meter, if I have to go to the left 3 places, 1, 2, 3. So to get to meter, So then that means I'm doing 500 times 1, and 500 really either times thousandths, but this is also the same as 1/1000th. So it's really like you're dividing by 1,000 if you want to think of it that way instead. That might be easier for some of you. So I get that 500 millimeters is equal to, moving it 1,000, 1, 2, 3, half of a meter. It can be a little tricky, so make sure you're paying attention to place value and try these next few. 25 4/10 of a gram is equal to how many kilograms? Well, 1 gram is equal to 1/1000th of a kilogram, because again, on that chart, I'd have to go to the left 3 places to get to kilogram, so think about it that way. So then I'm doing 25.4 times 1 and 25.4 times 1,000, which again is like dividing by 1,000, 3 places to the left. So I get 25 4/10 gram is equal to 254 10,000ths kilogram. Bigger unit, you need less of them, remember. So over here, I have trying to change this to how many meters? 158 millimeters. So I am going to decide that I am moving over. 1 millimeter is equal to, again, I have to move 3 places to the left to get to meters. So times 1, and then times 1,000, which is dividing by 1,000. So I have 158 millimeters is equal to 158,000 meters. Larger units, smaller numbers. Try this with the grizzly bear. It says use the information on the left. So sometimes you got to look to the right, I guess. Sorry, ignore that. I moved it, so it's to the right. I got to look and grab that information. I'm wondering, this bear that weighs 521 and 64 hundredths of a kilogram. I'm wondering how many grams that bear weighs. So 1 kilogram, to go from kilograms to grams, I go 3 places on that chart to the right. So it's equal to 1,000 grams. So times 1 times 1,000. So I'm doing 521, 64 is equal to, times 1,000, 1, 2, 3, 521,640 grams. It's all about just moving place values, guys. So the bottle, 1.75 liters of juice, is how many milliliters of juice? So liters, 1 liter, to get to a milliliter is moving 3 places to the right. So it takes smaller unit, takes more of them to equal 1. So I have 1 75 hundredths of a liter is equal to, moving that 1, 2, 3 places, 1,750 milliliters. Okay, so that was new place value moving left and right, essentially just by tens. This is kind of like yesterday's 6-4, where we are now converting different units. So similar to yesterday, you're going to make ratios and multiply. So we have 17 22 hundredths of an inch, and we want to change that to centimeters. So you're going to use this chart, which you have on your green sheet. Might be green, might be yellow. And I'm going to change it to centimeters. So I'm going to write what I know over 1. I'm trying to change it to centimeters, so that goes here. I'm canceling inches, so that goes on the bottom. Their equivalent chart, 1 inch is equal to 2 54 hundredths centimeters. So now I just multiply across. And I get approximately 43, 7,388 10,000ths. My directions say it around to the hundredths. So I look to the thousandths, 5 or more, raise the score. So 17 22 hundredths of an inch is equal to 43 74 of a centimeter. A little bit here. Try these again. It's just converting. So we have 828.5 milliliters. Trying to change that to cups. So we need to find the equivalent on our chart from cups to milliliters. And I know that 1 cup is equal to 236.59 milliliters. So notice again, multiplying across, I'm really just getting my numerator, units canceled, over the denominator, using my calculator to divide, and I get approximately 3.5 cups. Try down here using your information. You might have to go slower. So I have 7/44 of a cup over 1, trying to change that to milliliters equal to the cups. Again, using my chart, 1 cup equal to this many milliliters, multiply across. When I multiply across, I get approximately 1,760, 2,296 10,000ths, rounding to the hundredths, rounding up. So that's approximately equal to, comma, decimal, milliliters. E was 22 9/10 of a pound. Trying to get that to kilograms. Based on the chart, the equivalent is like this per 1 pound. So I multiply across and get approximately, rounding to the hundredths, would just be 10 2/100 kilogram. Last one, excuse my sniffles. F is 35 85/100 of a liter. Changing that to gallons, so writing the equivalents to liters. 1 gallon is 3 79/100 of a liter. Multiply across, which really means I'm going to divide. And when I divide, move up. When I divide, I get approximately 9 46/100 gallon. Hoofda! Okay, last little bit, convert rates. This is it, I swear. We're going to even skip this one. So again, just converting, just like we said, if we have, just from a word problem, we are seeing that the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, and we want that to now be in kilometers per second. So seconds are staying the same, we don't have to worry about it, but miles are going away with a new kilometers. So 1 mile is equal to 1 61/100 of a kilometer. Multiply across, and we get that is approximately 299,460 kilometers per second. Go team! Yay, ladies and gentlemen, that was a lot. Think about place value, come with questions, work really hard. Yay, you.